So I recently did a Fedora 40 KDE review, and to my shock and awe, I didn't hate it, which made me think I really want to do a review on Nobara because if you don't know, in case you don't know, Nobara is based on Fedora. It is given to us by the same person who does Proton GE, Glorious Eggroll. He basically builds Nobara from Fedora for his father to have an easy time of using Fedora, which is awesome because we all need an easier time using Fedora. And yes, I say that in jest, but the the things that I don't like about Fedora, Nobara fixes most of those. So I wanted to take a look at it. I wanted to do this review a little sooner than now, delayed for two reasons. Number one, I wanted to install it on something in here, one of my many devices, so I could actually use it, try it out, kick the tires, and play with it some. So the first one that came to mind, because Nobara is supposed to work with NVIDIA easily, is my NVIDIA Potato. Wouldn't install. So then I went to my, I guess, second best laptop. Wouldn't install. So not a great experience for the installer. Installs a virtual machine just fine. But what I really wanted to try it on is my personal main laptop, because Fedora 40 KDE was the only distribution that, to this point, thus far, in KDE 6 land, Plasma 6 land, that my laptop, 2-in-1 laptop, worked in tablet mode. It was Fedora 40 KDE. Nothing else has, including my beloved Tumbleweed. Disappointing, for sure. I dislike Fedora enough to where I installed Tumbleweed back on it, knowing that tablet mode didn't work. And then I decided. And then point number two on the delay is I was waiting for Nobara 40 to release after Fedora 40. Hasn't happened yet. I did install it on some virtual machines, and it seems to update itself to Fedora 40, or Nobara 40, if you will. Not sure how to differentiate those two, because Nobara 40 is not out yet. But it does seem to update to what would be the equivalent of Fedora 40. It gets KDE 6.0.5, I think. And I think that's where Fedora 40's at. But I wanted to try Nobara on my laptop. So after I did virtual machine, I went to the laptop and saw that it updated to KDE 6. Basically Fedora 40. I put it on my main laptop. This one here. The 2-in-1. I forgot it was off. I'll let that boot up. But it works. Everything on it, everything works. Sleep works. Hibernate works. The tablet mode works. And I attribute that all to Fedora. Because on Fedora 40, all of that stuff worked. It's just, in my opinion only, Fedora has the worst installer in Linux. Hands down. GE, the glorious Eggroll, he removed Anaconda, which is Fedora's installer, and he replaced it with Calamaris. So we're going to start in the first place that all reviews should start, and we're going to go to the installer. So here we have the standard grub screen for a live session install. We're going to go ahead and start Nobara. And I notice that this warning pops up a lot, and I'll get another screenshot or show you that a little bit closer while this boot screen's coming up. But it does say this OS is out of date. There it is. This OS version is past its end of support date. But It does work. It does install to the next version. And upon installing the next version, this warning goes away. I think that's a Fedora thing. I think. So here we have the Nobara installer comes up immediately. If you're on a laptop and you only have Wi-Fi connection, you have to cancel this out in order to, well, yeah, you have to cancel this out and hit yes, and then you have to connect your Wi-Fi. Once you've done that, you can restart your install. Now, I remember why this one failed, because it's so slow, it took so long to install, that in order to install it, I have to go into system settings and go to, is it power management? Yes. Go into power management and I have to turn off screen energy saving. Now on that one, it also had suspend session after 10 minutes. That's not good to do on an install. But if your system's fast enough, it's not a problem, because it does install pretty quickly. So once you've done whatever you have to do preliminary, go ahead and double click that install system and it will start. This is the Calamaris installer. Doesn't get much easier. Select your location, do your things. And just like that, it's going to start installing. This is just, I did have this on almost all of mine. I just hit this maximize button. There's your install button. So I figured while that's installing, we'll take a quick look at the Nobara FAQ. Will there be other desktop environments? No, GNOME and KDE only, because they ship with VRR support, variable refresh rate, aka FreeSync on Wayland. Number 2, will you create a minimal install disk? Nope. Will you create a network install? Nope. Was there a torrent available? Nope. I heard Nobara breaks SE Linux. Is this true? Not really. We have taken out SE Linux, which is the firewall virus protection thing, I think. Antivirus, I think. In favor of AppArmor, which is what Ubuntu and OpenSUSE use. AppArmor is a little more friendly, less intrusive, easier to manage, and to write policies for. So there's that. Is Nobara compatible with Secure Boot? No. They build a custom kernel that will not boot with Secure Boot, so keep that in mind. I think that's the problem I had on that machine, on that laptop up there, is that I did have Secure Boot enabled before I read this. So there is that. I did disable Secure Boot. It still wouldn't install on it, but that was the first problem I had. Can I upgrade from Fedora to Nobara? This is no. This is a big, large, huge no. No, can't be done. I imagine normal updates are fine. Is there anything special going on with distro upgrade? This was talking about 37 to 30, let's see, 36 to 37, and we're at 40 now. 40 still not released. As far as I know, I'll check it again real quick. Is the kernel kept more up to date than Fedora's kernel? We use Fedora's exact kernel version with our patches on it. How modified is Nobara? Heavily. All of the packages we modify can be seen in their fedora.repo package exclude list. So you can actually look. Last updated in 2023. The mention of Fedora 37 makes me think 3 years ago. But it says this project is quite new. I'll do it as long as I'm continuing to work on Linux. Anyway, there's your quick FAQ. Something to be noted. I do know that I've done a little bit of research on other, like Reddit research. Come on, that's not very scientific, but a lot of people have trouble with it. It seems to either work for you or it doesn't. If it works for you, it works great, and if it doesn't work for you, it pretty much just doesn't work at all, is what I'm saying. All right, so it should be done, and it is. Restart now. Done. It'll restart. while that's restarting, I'm going to show you real quick. I'm huge again. Laptop. This is running Nobara. And I switched the theming back to KDE Plasma regular. I like the wallpaper on Nobara, but I don't like the fact that the icons look like GTK icons. So I'm not a big fan. But anyway, main thing I want to show you is I flip it to laptop mode. Boom. Tablet. Fedora. It's a Fedora thing. Wish I liked Fedora more than I do. I really do. Anyway, guess if I'm running Nobara, I don't have to say I'm running Fedora, right? And back. And being Fedora, Fedora also has Malite keyboard pre-installed by default, as does Nobara. So anyway, that's the laptop. I have all my Kmail. I have everything set up on that, so it is, yeah, it is functional. One of these days, I got to figure out how to do that in buttons. Okay, so let us go ahead and restart. Boom. Full screen. And you saw the error came up again. It'll probably show up. There it is again. Past end of support date. Once I update the Nobara install, you'll no longer get this. We'll look at Info Center before and after. And I gotta say, my experience with DNF is DNF's pretty slow. It has been laser fast. The fastest I've ever seen DNF. Yeah, it says it needs to update. I'm going to go ahead and select on the background. Let's get this a better display. Let's see if it'll work. I should be able to do 19 by 10. Yes. Outstanding. Okay. So it says, please note, system update is required before installing any new drivers or system packages. This came up immediately. This is like a first run. The first time you run it, it says, hey, I need to update before you do anything. I love that. I love that. It's weird because on my laptop, it just started. So I guess it needs me to do it. But there is, in the first steps, there is a update button. Update, if you don't use the Nobara updater, it will update through Discover. I don't know what Nobara's updater is. I have no idea. And it may only be just a bash script for DNF update. I don't know. Come on, let me click out. Yep. Won't let me. So I put in the wrong password and then it wouldn't let me fix it. So I had to start over. Not a big deal. That is definitely something that we can look past. Okay. If this was Fedora or SUSE or a canonical thing, I'd say, y'all need to fix that. But considering this is I don't think it's a one-man show, but it's a mostly one-man show. That's not a big deal. And look how fast that is. That is a room zoom zoom. That's crazy. And I'm not speeding this up like I usually do. Didn't speed it up. Fast. I'm impressed. And okay. I still might be able to. I meant to look at it at the before. I don't know if it'll let me look at it now. Not going to let me look at it. Nope, there it is. Okay. So Plasma 5.27.10 and Frameworks 5.113, Qt 5.15. So this is all pre KDE Plasma 6. And when it comes back around again after these updates are applied, we should be rocking Plasma 6. I think it's only Plasma 6.0.1. I'll have to check and make sure, but I think I'm on, let's see what I'm on here. I know it's 6.1 something, 6.1.2. Okay. So I'm still waiting for the 6.2, which I don't know if it's out yet. I don't think it is. So any more of this updating, I'm just going to skip on past it. We'll go ahead and reboot. So it has rebooted. It has fired back up. This is a welcome screen from Nobara that's going to show up every single time you restart your system, unless you uncheck this button right here that says show on startup. You uncheck that, it will no longer show up on startup. You may or may not want it to show up on startup. There's some pretty neat things in here. And it's probably actually one of the better welcome screens or welcome app, whatever you want to call it, that there is. I mean, it's useful. It's not just informative, it's useful. So welcome. First steps, update my system, which I just did. And since we're on the update subject, let's go back to Info Center. We're on KDE Plasma version 6.0.5. We're on KDE Framework version 6.2.0. Qt version 6.6.2. Kernel version 6.8.12-200.fsync, yada, yada, yada. That's a special Nobara kernel as far as I know. So I think, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that is an updated Fedora 40 system. I no longer have a Fedora virtual machine running, and I'm just not interested enough in Fedora to make another one, honestly. But you do have an Open Driver Manager. This is where you can actually install NVIDIA cards with a click. Install more apps from the Software Manager. That's a Software Manager. Install web apps. That's the, what do they call that? I don't remember what it's called. Run websites as if they were apps. There's a word for that and it escapes me right now. But it is what it is. Recommended additions, install Blender, Kdenlive. I use Kdenlive and OBS Studio. They're one button installs. And Discord. I don't use Discord. Optional steps. Install DaVinci Resolve Fixup so you can run DaVinci Resolve. Install Steam Game Fixups. I don't know what that is because I don't have any issues with Steam running on my OpenSUSE Tumbleweed, so I don't know what that is. It may just be the Proton GE. That might be what that is. And install Proton GE. So that's not what that is because there is a button here that says install Proton GE. So I don't know what that is. Look and feel. Get new icons and themes. Choose a login manager. If you launch the choose the login manager, you did get two. I don't know why he's got GDM on here. Being a KDE distro, I don't know. But SDDM is the default. And troubleshoot. Can launch some documentation, join the community, and contribute to Nobara. So, welcome screen does pretty good. You can select that to not show every time you launch or restart your system. I like the default look. The only thing I don't like about it is these look like GTK icons. Not a fan. Not a fan. However, being that it's KDE, it's easy to change. So I'm just going to go into colors and themes. Actually, it's right there on the screen, but global theme, freeze dark is what I use. Select that desktop and window layout. Also, hit apply. My entire Plasma screen will restart and I'll have KDE icons. There is also an installer for Nobara that is just standard KDE theming without the Nobara touches. But other than that, everything else on here is basically Fedora. So if you want to update using the console, it's going to be DNF, sudo DNF update. As far as I know, I'm updated. And DNF on here is actually pretty quick. Funny that still says Fedora 39 right there. So maybe it's not updated to Fedora 40. There might be a quick way to find out. Let's see. Alphabetical order. F, F, D, Fedora, go. Scroll way down. We get a list here of packages. Rawhide and 40. So the second column is 40. Plasma desktop 6.1.2. Is Rawhide the same as 40? Why is it not showing any of these? I don't know. Anyway, nothing to do, but DNF is how you do things. I think Inkscape's already installed. That is something I use. So, graphics, Inkscape, that is something that I use. LibreOffice is already installed. What do we have? Eliza. It's interesting here that under Internet, Firefox is not installed. And I'm curious why he I'm curious why he removes Firefox in favor of Chromium web browser. I don't know. But that is very curious. Let's see. Office, LibreOffice. There is no Kmail installed, so I'll have to install Kmail, which I did on my laptop. Firewall uses App Armor. System. Except for the driver manager, there's nothing here out of the ordinary. Games already has Lutris installed. That's pretty cool. It already has Steam installed, probably kind of obviously. Ocular, yeah, everything else is pretty basic. So if I wanted to install Kmail, what was the other one? GIMP's probably not installed. I would just sudo DNF install Kmail and GIMP. There was another one. I don't remember what it was. Hit yes on that. You'll notice it's actually pretty quick. Pretty darn quick. That is impressive. And just like that, done and done. So that's pretty much all I've got. The only other thing is my experience with gaming on Nobara on my laptop has not been anything miraculous. I have one game installed. That would be Axis and Allies. Guess I could make me bigger again. Oh, make me bigger again. See this? And Axis. So to me, game performance, I don't really consider it a gaming distro. I know a lot of people sell it as that. I don't consider it a gaming distro. You can do anything in Fedora that Nobara has set up for you. You can do anything in Tumbleweed or any of the others. Not really a gaming distro per se, but it does make the annoying parts of Fedora better. And that's not a high bar. So I'm going to bring back up the info center, and I'm going to close out on this screen right here, and that's all I've got for this one. And as always, thank you so much for watching.